Yeah.
Hey, what's up, Armando?
And we are live. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me again on this week's episode of the Contractor Weekly. My name is Armando J. Cox. I am a roofing company owner and also a video creator. What kind of turned into a hobby for me, creating videos for myself for fun and eventually my business. And now I'm doing it professionally for others. I do consulting and video services. So I love it. I've got a lot of passion for that. So feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions about that. And today I'm really excited because I've got some awesome guests. I've got Ammon McKinley. He started out as a roofing sales guy. And then he went from being roofing sales all the way to getting into digital marketing. And now he is at Fueled, working with Hunter Ballou over at their empire that they're building for the most part. And then we also have Taylor Richardson, which is a newcomer to the roofing industry. He works for public relations with Job Nimbus. Actually, Job Nimbus is a huge software company in the roofing industry. And I'm pretty excited to talk to both of these guys. And we're going to go ahead and cut to the intro. We are going to bring on Ammon McKinley. And we also have some words from our sponsors today, who are the Roofing Academy. If you need roofing training, feel free to please reach out to the Roofing Academy. They're doing a great job at helping people systematize their business and helping them get into commercial roofing and all kinds of stuff. Also, reach out to Velocity Public Adjusting if you're looking for a public adjuster to help you with your large loss commercial job. Public adjusting services. And then also, we have Get the Referral, who's a software company, and they create apps for companies. Like, instead of you going to drop 60 grand on an app, you can drop a lot less than that with Get the Referral. And they will build a nice branded app for your business. So we're getting those going for our business as well. Those are our sponsors, and we're going to go ahead and cut to the intro. We'll be right back with our guest. I think actually it's Logan Graff first. He's going to talk a little bit about the Logan slogans. We'll talk to you soon. Okay, guys, so we're back, and I'm going to just talk for a couple minutes about a few things kind of going on in the roofing industry right now. Kind of one huge thing. Well, first, I got some new glasses. Did you notice? I hadn't had my glasses for literally months. I've lost them. I don't know how you lose your glasses in your own house, but I somehow lost my glasses, and then I finally got some new ones. So I'm really excited to be able to see again, crystal clear. I had to get a new prescription, everything. Enough of that. Let's talk about some other things going on in the roofing industry, which one of them is the International Roofing Expo, which is going on next week. So a lot of buzz going on about that. A lot of people talking about the International Roofing Expo, arguably the biggest event in the roofing industry. And, I'll be going. I'll actually be assisting one of our clients create content, Bradley Gardner, at the event himself. We're going with our cinematographer, myself. I'll be directing, and we're going to be creating some pretty awesome content there. So very excited about attending the IRE, and also have a lot of people going. I guess they're talking about 20,000 people are going to the IRE. And so, I just wanted to kind of talk about that. And then also, I got into a little trouble this past weekend, posting stuff again that I maybe shouldn't be posting. I don't know. But I got kind of called out a little bit because I posted a video with a HGTV logo on it. And I posted it, I put it in the roofing sales and solar community group. And I got kind of called out. People were like, accusing me of, what did he say? False advertising or something like that. So yeah, I won't be posting that anywhere else, but yeah, message me if you have something to say about that. But yeah, I just kind of did it for fun because we like created this video. It kind of looked like an HGTV style video for my roofing company. And I thought, hey, let's throw a logo on there. I didn't really like think about it that clearly, really. So yeah, and I thought, I wanted to see everybody's side. I knew it'd stir up a little excitement there in the group, and it definitely did. But yeah, some people got kind of really upset and telling me to kind of move it down. So sorry guys if I upset you. And yeah, we will be taking that logo off and sharing it with the rest of the world. But anyways, yeah, and then another thing we have kind of going on this week. Well, let's see. Do we have Logan on? Is he on the call yet? Well, we're going to talk about Logan's slogans, but Logan probably got caught up. He runs a busy company, Crest Exteriors. He's been a kind of a recurring guest on the show because he has this thing called Logan Slogans. And I think it's a really great way for us to start the show. And like the slogan for today he did is day one or one day, you decide. Day one or one day ? Or you decide. And I really like that slogan. I think it's a great way to kind of create a tone for the show, which is, day one or one day. Like I know I'm guilty of thinking like one day I'm going to do this or one day I'm going to do that. And instead of like thinking like one day I'm going to do this, it's just, it's time to go. It's time to execute, and one of my huge challenges in my career has been execution. Execution is very challenging. I'm good at ideas and I love ideas and I can come up with a lot of ideas, but actually executing on the idea is a whole nother ball of wax, and I think that's where people, kind of get stuck with like planning and execution and like, oh, it's just too much work. I'll do it one day. But you know what? Things don't have to be perfect. Like just go for it. If you have the idea, you can execute even on a small level, just go for it, and I think that's kind of what Logan Slogans is about today. So a couple other things, just before we kind of bring on Ammon, which is the cost of materials seem to be kind of like holding steady unless you're a supplier. Apparently the price hikes just do not stop. And I still have yet to find a good like economist type person to come on and tell us what's going on. The best explanation that I got privately from a sort of like a supplier executive, a national like higher up in the supply industry. And this is a bit controversial, but it's that there's such a high demand for supplies right now and for raw materials and for goods that suppliers can simply increase charges, and the demand does not decrease. It will just keep going up. People will pay. So it's kind of like an economics thing, they can just charge more. It's not necessarily them getting charged more. It's them just sort of raising the prices to increase their profitability. That's kind of where the controversy is. I mean, is that really what's going on? Because it seems like literally every month we get a new price hike from our suppliers. So, the last one I saw just came through was like 4 to 9%. But that was just last month. The prior one was 4 to 9%. How do you go up, 8 to 18% in like 2 months? Like things are getting a little out of control in the supply world, in my opinion. And it's just going to trickle down to everyone. So, Logan just messaged me, said no link. LG@crestroof.com. Looks like we're still going to have Logan on the call. He is kind of waiting for the link, but that's kind of the thing about about live stream is there's no edits, there's no filter, there's no nothing. You mess up, something doesn't work out, that's life. So that's kind of what we're dealing with now. But yeah, just to see if we can get Logan here on the call and expand a little on Logan's slogans and tell us a little bit about what's going on in his world. Looks like they are let's see if we can. Another thing that's really hard about this when we're live is when we have these sort of moments, I have to just make something up. So it gets kind of tough, but let's see if we can get Logan on the call. If you guys could just bear with us for just a moment. see here. It's crestroof.com. Okay, cool. Yeah, so I don't know. It's kind of not going to work out with Logan, unfortunately. Let's just kind of let's kind of move on to our featured guest, Ammon McKinley. Really excited to hear about his story. I'm genuinely curious what happened, because I did a podcast with him not too long ago. Honestly, one of like my highest rated podcasts I think I've ever had, and it was like organic. I think we got like 6,000 or 7,000 views on his. I don't know what makes him so popular, but we're going to talk to him again. We had a good conversation about digital marketing and SEO and things like that. And now, now I think everything's changed. So I don't know what happened, and we're going to get the story right now. Let's see if we can bring him on. Should we take a quick break? We can go bring him on. Okay. Cool. So let's see if you can hear us. Ammon, are you there?
I'm here.
Awesome. Let's see if we can get you on the screen here. And if you don't mind sharing the link, if you can copy and share it to your profile, that would be awesome. Yeah, man, let's kind of get going with things. Oh, there you are. You're wearing a blue shirt.
Yep.
Where are you? Are you at the Fueled headquarters or something? What's going on there?
This is HQ.
Is it? Okay. What's going on?
There's a little bit of the team. There's the gym in the background, lounge area. We're hustling today.
That's sick, man. I remember the last time we talked, you were, we did that podcast. Oh, there we go. We did that podcast. You were like, not to knock this, but you were pretty much in your basement, just like banging out like SEO services, dude. And I was like, man, you're grinding, and that's really cool. And I mean, I think that's really cool, but like now things have changed a lot, right? Like, right? You moved, you don't live in, you think you were in Arizona before. Now you moved to where are you at now?
South Carolina. Travelers Rest, South Carolina.
So did you you don't have kids, right? You are married though?
No, I do. I have a 3-year-old.
So you pretty much like sort of uprooted your family from Arizona and moved to South Carolina.
Yeah. My wife was pissed. No, my wife was actually really supportive of it. It was tough because we had a lot of close family ties in Arizona, but I shut down my company to join Fueled, and so it was a compelling enough vision that my wife and I were both on board with it.
So Ammon, I mean, you got to walk me through this story, man, because we did a podcast. I saw you at Fueled online. I saw you posting and stuff. I was excited for it. I knew it was a great opportunity. I mean, working with Hunter, I mean, that would be, I think that'd be a great experience. So let me see 1 second here. It says the special guest is Eric Richardson on this episode.
He is way more special than me.
Yeah, well, we had him last week. Did you happen to see some of that?
No, I didn't, but I know Eric pretty well. He's a funny guy.
Okay, hang on 1 second here.
You'll probably get more views if it says Eric Richardson, not Ammon McKinley. Just so you know.
I'm just gonna keep it like that for now. When we go to break,
even though it's a little misleading, you'll probably get more views that way.
Dude, well, last week we went pretty high. I think we got over 6,000 views with Eric, and yeah, man, and like he was telling me how he actually joined Revolt. So Hunter has so much going on that like not a critique in any way at all. It's more just when you have a lot of things going on, sometimes the message of your sort of brand gets a little confusing to the audience, which kind of happened to me. But like, because he has Revolt and Fueled, and I kind of thought they were the same, but before we get into that, I want to know the story. I want to know kind of what happened, if you don't mind sharing, because you were a roofing sales rep, just straight up knocking on doors, grinding it out, right? Making money, because you make good money in roofing. Had a family. Did you buy a house back then? I mean, what would you tell us a little bit again about like your experience with roofing sales, and then like kind of start to go into the transition from that to digital marketing?
Yeah, so a lot of that story we talked about literally just a few months ago, and I was about 2 months into really like kind of full-time running my marketing agency. And so I'll backtrack. Yes, I did roofing sales for off and on for about 6 years. Went in and out of digital marketing. I had an injury that took me away from being able to sell roofs. So I got into all kinds of stuff, software development, software sales. And that's what led me to digital marketing. I had to have a job where I couldn't be like physically exerting myself all the time. So I knew I had to be in an office job, but I still wanted to do sales. So that's what led me to the tech industry. And in the tech industry, I decided that I really kind of hated the idea of building apps, even though it's funny because I've circled back. That experience actually is helpful to me now because we're going to be building apps here at Fueled.
Oh, wow.
Which is kind of fun. It's kind of funny how life goes that way.
So one thing I wanted to ask you was on that front was the like roofing sales is pretty lucrative, you know. And so, you know, you were knocking on doors, you were doing that thing, and then you kind of wanted to do something, you know, where you didn't have to go out in the field all the time, which was you kind of discovered digital marketing. And so, or you already were aware of it, but like, dude, financially, I mean, starting a different career and where were making good money doing roofing sales and then going into like a different career, not making that same kind of money. Was that even the thing for you, or was it just you had enough savings to kind of make that transition, or did that really matter that much, or not really?
To me, honestly, I just wanted to be an entrepreneur really bad. Like it was like, and I knew SEO well enough, and I knew that I could scale it. And I was doing both for a little while.
Okay.
Like I would go out and sell roofs 2 or 3 days a week, just enough to like pay my bills. And then the rest of the week I was, you know, working on my agency. I worked for a really cool company that didn't, you know, they knew I had dreams and goals, and as long as I was bringing in deals, they were happy to pay me, you know? So, I did that for a little while with the transition. And then I was about 2 months really like full time. I still have some roofing jobs I was wrapping up, but like there was about 2 months into it where I was doing full SEO all the time, morning to the evening, building websites, building pages, building blogs, doing all that stuff. So,
dude, that's like very technical. Like you like know the nitty gritty of like getting into WordPress and like manipulating graphic design and like writing up content. Like you've gone through all of that, right? Like do you know like WordPress like the back of your hand type of situation?
WordPress, yeah, I don't like WordPress. In fact, I steer everyone towards Duda because it's not like a Wix site where you're not going to have good SEO, but it's a lot more streamlined than WordPress. But yeah, man, it's not a natural skill of mine to be extremely technical like that. And it was a big learning curve. But I was like so driven to do something on my own that, you know, sometimes you just force yourself to do things that aren't natural to you.
Yeah. You kind of do what you don't like sometimes to get to be able to do what you do like more often, at least. Right. So yeah, that's really interesting. And so yeah, then when we talked, you were full on. I mean, you had that marketing business. I mean, you had a website for SEO. You had these like packages, you know, and whatnot, and like really, you know, cost effective, affordable package. I mean, you were kind of on your way to kind of like fulfilling that dream of entrepreneurship and being your own boss and, you know, making, you know, I think you were kind of like, look, as soon as I hit five clients, you know, 5 clients consistently, I think you said you were going to, you know, start increasing the prices because you were offering really great package. Like I think they were like 1,000 for like SEO packages. And I know the kind of SEO you were doing, which were like city pages and other kind of stuff, like are extremely valuable and labor intensive, you know? So, I mean, you were kind of on your way to getting those 5 clients and then like, you know, increasing it from there. Right. And I mean, that was kind of exciting, wasn't it? When you were in that during that time?
Yeah, we did. I mean, it grew pretty quickly, I think, because, and we did get there. We actually got past there before I and the doors aren't closed. It's like, for those of you who may be watching who are clients of Zeal Communications, like, we're still operating. We're just not like marketing or growing, like not really taking on new people because my focus is on Fueled. But I do have a team that fulfills. So the people who did sign up with me, we're still working with them. But most of my, I make sure the team's doing what they're doing. Hunter knows that. I mean, Hunter's got like 28 businesses, so he understands that people have different things they do, but it's Fueled is like number one right now. And luckily, before I kind of like moved away from doing the day-to-day operations, I found a really good team that could fulfill for me. And so, but yeah, I mean, you're right.
You talking about that. Yeah. You were like, I am doing a lot of the work myself, but you were like,
it's rough.
but I do have like some people that assist me, when I kind of need it. And so that sounds like you were able to kind of, have those people help you out some more,
Yeah. So they're doing a great job. So
are they? That's really cool. So then, so kind of tell us a little bit more. So then, like, you knew Hunter already, right? I mean, did he reach out to you personally and was like, "Hey, I've got this thing called Fueled. Like, I think you would be really good for it." Like, he just like hit you up on Messenger or something like that?
So he had, and I didn't learn this until after, but he had his eye on me for a little while, because a good roofing company owner is always recruiting. They always got their eye on people, right? So he had seen me being active in the roofing community group, and he saw, he watched me open my marketing agency, and I was kind of doing like a lot of funny stuff to kind of open the doors to the agency. And I get this call one night. It's 8 o'clock in Arizona. I'm getting barbecue with my family on a Saturday night. So it was 11 o'clock here in South Carolina. But I get this call from Hunter. Actually, it wasn't even a call. It was a voice message. He goes, "Hey, we're doing a free retreat. It starts tomorrow night. I'll fly you out if you can be here."
Okay.
And it was the March retreat. And I looked at my wife. I literally like had a face full of barbecue, and I looked at my wife, and she like rolled her eyes at me. She's like, "Go ahead." So I was like, "Sure, man, I'll go." And I had a marketing agency. I'm like, "Put me in a room with 30 roofers. Sure, I'll take that."
Yeah, for sure.
So, so I went out to the retreat, and like the story of why I'm here, if that's what you want to know. I hate technical stuff. I
actually, real kind of backing up for a moment. So you got that call. You were kind of like, "Whoa, what's going on? This sounds great, like a great opportunity for my business, and to network. And wow, Hunter's reaching out to me personally. He must really want me to kind of be there. He thinks I have something of value to offer, which you do have a lot of value to offer." And then your wife was like, "Yeah, it's, I mean, I need your help here at home. It's been nice having you. Been working from home. It's probably great for her." But then she's probably, "Okay, cool, go for it." So then you kind of saw it as that sort of opportunity to kind of, to be able to, an opportunity to go and, kind of do some business development type thing. And then you went ahead and went, and then, and yeah, then kind of tell us from there. Like you arrive, you're talking to all the guys, you're kind of hanging out, and at some point, does Hunter like pull you aside and be like, "Hey, I kind of need to talk to you privately," type thing?
No, so I should say that he wasn't trying to hide anything about, like, he definitely told me in the beginning, like, "Hey, we've got a couple positions that we're looking at people for. You seem like someone that might be a fit. We want to have you out, and if it's not worth your time." I mean, he even offered to pay me for my time if I didn't think it was worth it.
Oh, that's
cool. And I said, "Dude, I mean, at the very least, you're going to put me in a room, like I said, with 30 roofers, and I've got a marketing agency for roofers." I was like, I can't say no to that. So, yeah. No, he didn't pull me aside during the retreat. It was just more of like, "Hey, I want to get to know you. You get to know us," type of thing. And then we had that conversation after the retreat.
Okay. So those retreats are pretty awesome too, right? Like, I know Eric kind of told me he went to one of them and had a really great time. And then, you know, I've Hunter's actually invited me to go to them. I just haven't, you know, I didn't make the time to do that. But like, what goes on at those things? Like, you know, I have to say, like, when I initially got the invite, I was like, okay, free retreat. I'm going to basically get pitched all day long, you know, kind of one of those, kind of like the way they kind of buy a dinner for like the timeshare thing. They'll treat you to dinner and then, you know, or a helicopter ride or something when you're on vacation, and then they'll pitch you all day, you know, for 3 hours straight, like hardcore. Like, I'm borderline traumatized from those kind of experiences, but that's not what's going on then, right?
No. So, and a lot of people have that perception about the retreats. By the way, I don't get paid by the roofing community team. Like, obviously we both are businesses from Hunter, but just like a totally objective perspective, had I worked for Fueled or not, those retreats are so valuable, not even from the business standpoint, but from a personal standpoint. I mean, the personal development stuff they do, there's a self-worth day and a net worth day. And the self-worth stuff, it's like, how many people do you know can get 30 roofers in a room and have every single one of them in tears by virtue of just that atmosphere? And so the thing that like really like struck me was, I had my marketing agency. I was even kind of getting comfortable because clients were starting to find me, and I didn't even really have to try super hard to bring on new clients with my marketing agency. And so I kind of got comfortable. I was like, this is nice. You know, I'm actually making pretty good money with this. But what I tell everyone is that my vision was kind of like this. And then when I went to that retreat, my vision kind of went like that. And that's really what those retreats are all about, is just elevating your vision. And that's what Fueled is about. Like, people who join Fueled, it's all the training and everything like that is great. But for the most part, people will tell you that, and it's just something that, like, Hunter's done a great job and his team has done a great job, because Hunter's nothing without the team that he's built. And I think that's his greatest strength, is building teams of great people who are all in and bought into the vision and the mission of the companies. But I kind of went off track there. But the retreats, I think it's valuable whether you are going to join Revolt or not. And they tell you straight up at the very end that it's not for everybody. And if you choose not to join, you know, it's not like you get blacklisted from the group and you don't get to talk to anybody anymore. It's just, I mean, they have a business that they run. They spend a lot of money per person on those retreats. I was blown away. I was like, I get a backpack, I get a sweater, I get like 2 really nice t-shirts. It's really nice location. So whether you are even considering joining Revolt or not, it's a super valuable experience. And that's really what compelled me. I was like, okay, wow, this is different. I was like, whatever these guys have built, it's so much different from anything I've ever done in business. And it was actually, like, for me personally, I hadn't felt that way since, you know, that I'm Latter-day Saint. Mm-hmm. I hadn't felt that way since my mission, as far as just the feeling, that vibe of everybody's there for the same reason. Everyone's there to grow. Everyone's there to propel each other. So it was a pretty edifying experience for me. And that's kind of what I was like, okay, if we can create that across the country with Fueled, I was like, dude, sign me up.
Dude, so that's a powerful statement, that you hadn't felt like that since your mission. I mean, because I know I you know, my wife grew up you know, LDS, and you know, I'm pretty familiar, more than your average person, with sort of the culture and whatnot, and the mission is such a big deal, you know. And so you know, leaving for it, there's all the sort of the preparation that comes back, and then even when you come back, there's a lot of things that happen there. And so there's a lot of excitement on both sides, when you leave, when you join, when you come back. So I mean, yeah, I could that's really, really interesting, man. And so okay, so now help me kind of clarify things. Like, there's Revolt, right? And then there's Fueled. Like, are these two different, these are two obviously separate names, right? So these are two different organizations or two different approaches. Can you help like clarify what's going on there?
Yeah, the business models are a little bit different. I mean, I guess you could say they're a lot different, but it's the same concept. So it's a mastermind. Revolt is a mastermind for roofers and solar companies, where they have a lot of specific training on systems and processes. Connor is really the driver of the deliverables in the Revolt mastermind, and he's also going to be also a big driver of the deliverables here at Fueled, just because Connor's such an incredibly intelligent, business-minded person.
Yeah.
As far as like the technical stuff, like business in a box, you tell Connor what you sell, how much you sell it for, how many people you have, what you're doing right now in revenue, what your goals are in revenue, and he will build you a business in a day. Like, that's just how technically savvy he is. And then Hunter, obviously, he's the visionary for both companies. And so he's casting the vision. He's pushing everyone. We're doing the 3,100 burpee challenge this August. And he's got a strong emphasis on, you know, thinking bigger, thinking bigger, and also pushing yourself, but also like personal development, that side. So Fueled is a local mastermind for anybody, you know, well, within reason, anybody who's a fit.
Revolt is more like roofing oriented, and Fueled is more sort of entrepreneurship in general.
Revolt is virtual, and it's for roofers, and they do things in person. They do the retreats and stuff. But Fueled is something where local entrepreneurs, doesn't matter who they are, can come, they can join, they can use this location, they can reserve the lounge area, they can come get some work done. We do trainings every Tuesday right here. They can come do trainings with their team right here. We have courses online and a lot of other stuff that we do for our members. So I hope that is like a good explanation of the difference between the two.
Yeah. So it sounds like you Fueled where you are there. It's an actual like co-working spot. And they have like resources that, like, if you're a business owner, I can come to the co-working, I can like talk to you guys, I can ask questions, I can get access to some different kinds of resources that will be very, very useful to me, that kind of thing. That's kind of what Fueled is, actual physical place over in South Carolina that local business owners can come and like be a part of.
Yeah.
Wow.
And
okay.
Soon it will be everywhere.
Gotcha. That's crazy, dude. Wow. I didn't realize that. And then, so yeah. And then Revolt's like completely different than that. It's, you know, virtual sort of personal development for roofers and that kind of thing. So I think I kind of get it. Well, hey, Ammon, how are you doing with time? Are you able to hang out for a little bit longer?
I'm good, man.
Cool. All right.
I got about 23 minutes.
Awesome. Okay. We're going to bring on a couple more guests. We've got Taylor Edwards. He is new to the roofing industry. He works as public relations strategist at Job Nimbus. And then we also have one of his counterparts named Maggie. I'm going to get more information about them. So, and it would be great to keep you on the line, and, you know, feel free to interrupt, ask some questions to Taylor and Maggie. And we're going to chat a little bit more about public relations and, you know, kind of some things they're doing there. And we'll see. The idea here is to do sort of like a virtual talk show. That was kind of the, that is the goal. And I kind of had this idea like a while ago when COVID first hit, but talk about execution. It was hard for me to execute on it until basically now. And so, but it might be good timing because people are talking about more lockdowns. So that seems to be the buzz on the street. So we'll kind of, which is just crazy. We can maybe get into a little bit of that here soon. So we're going to cut to a quick break. Let's keep you on, and then we will bring on Taylor Edwards and Maggie. I don't know her last name, but we will find out very soon. All right. See you guys in just a moment.
Cool.
Okay, guys, so we're back. We now have Taylor Edwards and Maggie. Can you hear me, Maggie? Okay. So we have Taylor Edwards. Can you hear me yet, Taylor? So they're all like in the tiny little, you see that? Yeah. Okay. Okay. I think we're kind of.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you, Taylor. Yep. Can you hear me?
Oh, that was Ammon, but.
Oh, okay. Okay. Got Taylor. Cool. I can hear you still, Ammon. Yep. We're good there.
Cool.
Can't hear Maggie yet.
Can you hear me now?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I can hear you now. Okay. So we've got you all three like squished into one little screen, and we're going to see if we can get you guys your own grids here shortly. But I think we're going to, kind of jump into a few things here. For one, I want Taylor and Maggie. Maggie, what is your last name?
It's Plu.
Plu. Okay. It's nice to meet you. We've met for the first time here. What do you do over at Job Nimbus?
I do recruiting at Job Nimbus. So I hire everything from marketing, sales, technology, just all across the board.
Okay. So whatever position that Job Nimbus is hiring for at the moment, you're like doing your best to fill all those positions.
Exactly. Yep.
Okay. That seems like a big job, right? I mean, you guys, I'm sure, have a lot of positions to fill, and you have a lot of people to go through. And that, even just the idea feels overwhelming to me. I mean, what is your day-to-day like?
Yeah, so it really depends on what we're focusing on at the time. I joined the team at Job Nimbus in September of 2020 when we were around 55 employees. And today we're at 170 employees, not even a year later. So it's definitely been crazy. It's been really exciting though. So The day-to-day starts from I'm always meeting with candidates. I'm doing phone interviews. I do a lot of sourcing, a lot of networking. So it's a little different every day, but really fun.
And so it sounds like you would sort of like break up your focus on different positions. You're not doing all of them obviously at once. You can't do that. But what's the focus currently? What are you guys kind of hiring for now?
Yeah. So right now I'm focusing on a lot of engineering. A lot of focus has been on our mobile app over the past year. So hiring a lot of mobile engineers. We're always hiring for sales, a little bit of marketing, but right now the biggest primary focus is on quality assurance within development, and then Android engineering.
Gotcha. Okay. So she doesn't have a grid yet. Okay, cool. Yeah, we're working on getting you a grid, Maggie. Yeah. So, okay, cool. Yeah, that just seems like a lot. But how have you? So, were you the one who found Taylor?
I was. So a really cool thing about Job Nimbus is, although we're super busy with hiring, is we really utilize referrals. We have awesome people that work at Job Nimbus and they refer awesome people. So Taylor actually came as a referral from one of our product managers. So I was able to do the interview process with Taylor and now work with him. So it's been really fun. Okay.
Yeah, that's really cool. And so, well, Taylor, let's talk a little bit about you guys. Well, I wanted first really quick, I want you to introduce you to Ammon McKinley. Ammon is Director of Growth over at Fueled, which I just kind of learned this. Are you guys familiar? You're probably familiar with the roofing and sales community, like Facebook page. You've probably seen that yet or seen that so far, right?
A little bit, yeah.
A little bit, okay.
Yeah.
So Ammon kind of works for that. There's a guy named Hunter Ballou who started this thing called RoofCon. a few years ago. And then RoofCon, he also has a roofing company called Cornerstone Construction, which he recently sold to some sort of like large corporation. And they kind of changed the name of RoofCon Solar Roofing Group to like Roofing and Solar Community. Because right now, like things seem to really be changing a lot with the roofing industry as far as incorporating solar into your business, you know. And so they kind of changed the page of it, and they have this. Hunter has, I'm probably, I don't know, at least 5 businesses I could think of off the top of my head. Probably way more I don't even know about, right? So he has this thing called Fueled, which is like a local. I almost feels like an incubator, Ammon. It feels like an incubator in a way where a local business can kind of come to Fueled and like get access to a lot of different resources that they wouldn't otherwise have access to. That's kind of the feel that I get. Is that kind of right?
Yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate, but I would also say with a focus on developing the leaders of companies. So our mission is to develop millions of leaders to impact billions of people. So we really put a strong focus on the leaders, and that's why we don't just do business training type stuff, because if we just teach people how to maximize profits all day long, you know, they might make a lot of money, but is it really going to impact their people in a positive way? So I would say we focus more on leadership and developing leaders of companies, not necessarily companies.
And so, yeah. And so, Taylor and Maggie, this is an actual like physical location that they have there in South Carolina where people can come in and get access to leadership development and other kind of resources that they're kind of rolling out. I mean, Taylor, have you heard of anything like this before?
Yeah, I've worked for a couple startups, and one of the startups I worked for actually participated in something similar to this. I think it's so important. I think not enough people put an emphasis on like leadership versus just running a business. I think there's so much importance to those like leadership skills that impact the people in your company, because ultimately those are the ones that are going to move the company forward. So I think that's amazing.
Yeah, it's super cool. That's been a big focus for us at Job Nimbus, putting more middle management in place. Is I think there's people, you know, they have like those natural abilities to lead, but it takes training to hone it in and understand exactly how to connect with your team and lead your team and get the best results. So that's super cool. That's what you guys are doing over there.
We're excited about it.
I mean, and leadership, in my opinion, is arguably the most challenging aspect of running a business and having a business. And I think it literally takes years and years of experience to kind of like be a good, solid leader that can actually run like, large companies. And would you agree with that, Ammon, or would you disagree? Can you be sort of like young and hungry and not much experience and still be like an incredible leader?
Yeah, absolutely. I know lots of people who are young and inexperienced, but because of, I guess their vision and their fortitude, people are able to find a lot of success at really young ages. But yeah, I totally agree with you.
Yeah, the experience seems to be a big piece. I mean, Maggie, when you're kind of looking around, and you probably analyze resumes, like that's probably a major part of your job, right?
Yeah, it's a huge piece of it, and a lot of it comes from. I think a lot of the times leaders are put in place because they've been a really great individual contributor. Say you're really great at sales, and so they kind of move you up and through the ranks into sales management, which is great. I think, you're probably someone who's really motivating. You have the work ethic, but it still takes kind of honing in on those skills. And so it's always awesome to see. One of the biggest things that we look for in those hires are people that beyond just their work experience, we call it proactive learning, but do you read books? Do you try to develop those skills a little bit further beyond just the day-to-day experience that you get at work is a big piece of what I've seen makes a really fantastic leader.
I mean, what do you think is like some of the key characteristics of developing that leadership? My opinion is that it's almost exclusively experience, and really hitting your head against the wall and you know, learning that way through hands-on experience. Agree with me? Disagree with me? What do you think is the best way to kind of get that leadership training?
Yeah, you'll never learn how to be a leader until you actually do it, for sure. And you'll learn as you go. And I think that's the point of developing as a leader, is that you never stop getting better. You never stop learning.
What are some basic things that people can do if you want to kind of start developing your leadership abilities? I mean, do you think like maybe joining a volunteer group? I mean, joining like a church group, just start leading something, right?
So you're saying if I was just like, let's say, because we're talking about the roofing industry right now, if I'm like a roofing sales rep, I've only been doing it for 3 months and I've got a sales manager, like there's no prospect of me being a leader anytime in the super near future. Yeah. Is that kind of what you're talking about? Yes. Like that scenario?
Yeah, that scenario. Yeah.
I would say do things that leaders do in every interaction. Like if you observe good leaders, they're not just leaders of companies or families or organizations. They're leaders in every aspect of their life. You know, they're treating people well, they're communicating well, they're asking good questions, they're listening. And the number one thing I think is you can produce results, because like what Maggie said, a lot of times people get promoted from leadership positions, to leadership positions because they were a rock star individual contributor. And that's not the only thing you need to do, but you do need to prove that you can get results, because nobody's going to follow a guy to the bottom of a hole. You know, like you gotta be able to get results too. And so that's a part of it as well.
I mean, Taylor, what's your opinion on that? Do you think someone who's an individual contributor, not really any prospects of like, you know, getting into leadership anytime soon, but has that sort of desire and ambition to get farther ahead in life, you know, maybe someone who's sort of young, new to the industry type thing, what do you think are some good ways that they can start developing those leadership abilities?
Yeah, well, I think it's definitely kind of going back to what Maggie said, like there's a proactive learning aspect to it. I mean, there's definitely a time and place to kind of learn the theory where you're like reading books, listening to podcasts, those kind of things where you learn like the principles of good leadership. But I think even if you're not necessarily a manager or like assigned as a leader, there are ways that you can take leadership and ownership of aspects of your job and try to apply those principles. And I think that's, it takes some creativity, but you can definitely find opportunities to show leadership without actually being like titled as a leader.
I mean, it seems like one place we can all start is just with our families. If you have a family and you could start with just leading that. I know that's one thing that I kind of focus on sometimes, is just leading my family and being sort of like a co-leader with my spouse, for just our, for our small family. And that is very challenging in and of itself. And kids will be great opportunities to learn some leadership abilities because they don't want to listen to anything you say. So if you can somehow persuade children to do what you want, then that could be a good training ground. Ammon, would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's funny you bring that up because like just last night, I've got a 3-year-old, and just last night I took him to the park, and we were only going to be there for a short period of time. And I was like, all right, as we're pulling up to the park, I'm like, we're only going to be here for a few minutes, and then we're going to go home and we're going to take a bath, and then we're going to go to bed. And I said that like 3 or 4 times. And then while we're at the park, I'm like, okay, we only got a couple more minutes. Then we're going to go home and take a bath and go to bed. And the whole time I just kept saying that over and over and over again. And then I was like, okay, this is your last time to go down the slide. and he went down the slide. And instead of fighting me to go home, which a lot of times does happen, I think because I kept setting the expectation, which is a principle of leadership, is repetition and setting expectations. As soon as he got down the slide, he almost like had this little swag walk about him and just started walking back to the car. And I was like, dang, that's a super good dad moment right there. Like, you know, and I'm not always perfect that way, but that's a principle that you can apply, is just like repetition. And that was just a funny story that you talk about family. Like, yeah, for sure. It taught me something about how I can be a good leader at Fueled too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can kind of let folks know kind of like I know with kids, I like to tell my kids, well, you're going to want to take a bath and go to bed because you're going to get a story, you know, it's going to be a really good one this time, you know, it's going to be different than the other ones. So you're going to really want to do that, you know, and they'll be like, okay, and they actually, you know, and it's like good, like you know, providing incentives to people, you know, as a leader, that something that is like, you know, an incentive that is, you know, beneficial and really creates like a huge win for someone else, you know, is kind of like a good way to lead people, I think, you know, to where you want to go. So, guys, we're coming up at the top of the hour. I just want to say thank you so much to Ammon. Thank you for Taylor and Maggie for joining us on today's episode. We really appreciate it. Let's keep in touch here. You know, you guys should connect as well on Facebook and on in the groups, in the roofing groups. Taylor, I would encourage you to, you know, start, you know, chiming in on those roofing groups, you know, start kind of becoming friends with some of these folks, you know, and kind of get to know the industry a little bit more with kind of who's out there doing things, you know. Is Job Nimbus going to the International Roofing Expo next week?
Yeah, I'll be there next week. Yeah, come find me at the Job Nimbus booth there.
Awesome. And how about, I'm sure RoofCon, or what's, is RoofCon going, Ammon, or is...
Yeah, they will be there. I won't be there, but the rest of the team will.
Okay, that's great. Well, we'll look for RoofCon over there. I'll be there as well. We'll be creating content for Bradley Gardner. Bradley actually owns a roofing franchise company where he offers franchises to roofers all over the country. And you know, instead of like starting a roofing company from scratch, you can actually just go to Bradley and he has like a system already built out, you know, a full-on franchising system. Yeah. So we're going to create some content, help him with his personal branding, with hometown restoration is what it's called. So kind of a good idea with like the name. It's like hometown. So you could open up a hometown in like Denver and no one would know any different. You know what I mean? You can open a hometown anywhere, dude. But one thing I think I'm going to talk to Bradley about this when I'm with him is really incorporating solar into hometown. You know, doing a roofing and solar franchise. You know, I think could be a very, you know, interesting to people. You know what I mean? Yeah,
the future of the roofing industry there's no way it doesn't involve solar.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and I think on the other end too, solar companies could start incorporating roofing, you know, so there's going to be an interesting approach there, how things are going to develop. My feeling is, man, solar companies are pretty just very savvy in terms of like business operations, you know. I'd hate to say it, but I think a little more savvy than a lot of the roofing companies that have the owners that I know. You know, I've known some solar company owners and roofing company owners, and the solar companies seem to be a little more dialed in, you know, in general. You know, I'm speaking in general terms there, but so yeah, we kind of interesting to see how everything kind of unfolds in the next few years. But either way, guys, I'm going to let you all go. We're going to kind of cut to a quick break. I'm going to do my final thought, an idea that I borrowed from the Jerry Springer show. I like to offer a final thought for the day, and we will be right back.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
See you guys.
See you guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you. Hey guys, welcome back. And, to kind of finish out the show for today, I'm just going to offer this sort of final thought, and something that I think these final thoughts is something that, are on my mind for the week, and something that I need to, it's not just for the audience, it's for me as well. And I think, the concept of leadership, which sort of came up in our discussions over the show, and it came up organically because I didn't even plan to have that sort of like theme of leadership. I really enjoy having these like unscripted, unedited, unfiltered kind of like discussions about roofing industry and about entrepreneurship, business, marketing, all kinds of things like that. And I think with leadership, a lot of it has so much to do with personal development. And my sort of final thought is like, even if you don't have a leadership, an official leadership position at the moment, I would encourage you to get out in your community and find one. I think that's sort of the starting point. And if you don't find an official one that you can kind of get into, then start right at home. You can lead things in your own family, whether it's leading your spouse or your kids into, leading them for a weekend, family fun activity. It could be leading them into, I'm going on a wedding next week to in Los Angeles. My brother-in-law is getting married, and I'm going to be leading my family into that wedding. So that'll be fun. It'll be chaotic, but it'll, but that's kind of one thing, the way I'm going to kind of look at it is, so just, jump in, take advantage of any opportunity you can to lead and be a leader, because I think that in the future, and as kind of time develops, like the ability to lead teams and to be able to have those skills and abilities is going to be very important into the future. So that's going to finish the show for today. Thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to having another show. We do have some more like great guests planned, and we plan on doing this through the end of September, maybe even longer, depending on sort of the sponsor flow. And we have been getting more interest and more sponsors. So we'll kind of see how things shake out on that end. But for right now, we're committed to the end of September, and we look forward to continuing this through then, and we'll see you guys next week. Have a great week, okay? Like really get out there, make it happen this week, and have fun doing it too.